Did you know at this very moment, someone is on Amazon and Etsy actively looking for a quality coloring and activity book to add to their shopping cart? The only question is, will it be yours? Since you're listening to this podcast, hence the name of the show, it's pretty safe to assume that you have a keen interest in creating and selling your first or next coloring book. And it's for that reason I want to assure you you're in the right place. And I'd like to help you make it a reality by inviting you to check out the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program, the first of its kind complete A to Z course that features live weekly coaching, resources, templates, and an extremely supportive online community, all designed to assure that you create a standout in-demand coloring book that you'll actually enjoy creating, promoting, and selling. Imagine the feeling of knowing somewhere in the world someone is adding your beautiful new book to their shopping cart, investing in a piece of your creativity. Enrollment is open and you can get started by going to coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. That's coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. You're listening to the Coloring Book Creator Podcast, episode 16. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about why coloring books can be a great side hustle for creatives. Stay tuned. Want to start an online business selling your creativity? Maybe looking to make some extra money, add a new side hustle? Well, why not add coloring books to your portfolio of income streams? Now, you might be thinking, well, why coloring books? Well, clearly, if you're interested in coloring books, you'd be interested in making money from coloring books, perhaps, which is why you're listening to this episode of the podcast. This is one of the things I love about coloring books. First of all, they're easy to produce. And I have a coloring book creator mentor program where you could be holding your first book in your hand in the next 30 days or less. And I'll talk about that more as the episode continues. But again, as I said, coloring books are easy to create and they're easy to sell. Now, this is one thing I want to make sure I emphasize here. If your book is centered on a topic that people are interested in, you actually can sell them fairly quickly. I have one of my mentoring students in my Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program, Nefertari. And if you're not familiar with Nefertari, she actually is featured in episode 15 of the podcast. I'll put the link in the show notes here. But Nefertari published her first coloring book called Serve the Silent. And the book is a very unique angle. It was a topic that she was very passionate about, very much felt it was a calling for her to produce a book on this particular topic. And again, if you want to know more in depth about it, again, go listen to episode 15 and you can hear the story about the inspiration behind the book and why she just chose to create it and the audience that she created the book for. Fast forward, the book was really published in late December, right before Christmas. And then she had some family things going on, but then she got into really marketing the book in mid to late January. Now, since she's started actively promoting the book using what I call get in front of your book or grassroots marketing, Nefertari has sold, at the time I'm recording this, I believe right at 50 copies of the book. And she's actually gotten the book into a local bookstore in her area. Now, the thing that I want to say about her and why I wanted to showcase her in this episode is because she's not relying solely on Amazon sales. Now, in the coloring book world, as far as people who talk about developing coloring books and doing coloring books as an income stream, there's a lot of videos about all of this genre on YouTube. Many of them focus solely on selling the books on Amazon, which is nothing wrong with that. That's what I teach my students to do. It's what I've done. But the thing that I want to make sure I emphasize here is that Nefertari, like me, like my students, I always encourage them to not rely solely on Amazon sales. As a matter of fact, I actually support my students with a method that I teach that can help them make more money faster than just relying on online sales through Amazon. Because unlike most online resources that tell people to publish hundreds of what I call rubbish books on the platform that maybe get one or two sales a day in the hopes that if you flood the marketplace with hundreds and hundreds of these, what I call nothing books, Some of them are like line journal books and things like that. Nothing wrong with that. But I mean, the idea is that if I put up 100 or 500, what I call nothing books on there, and I sell one or two of those a day, I can make money from cross fingers and hope I get a sale every day without any active participation on the creator, meaning that what I say all the time in my coaching classes and in my free workshops and paid workshops is you must get in front of the book. You must be willing, as the creator of the book, to be the biggest advocate for the book, meaning that you're talking about the book, you're sharing the book, you're connecting with people. Regardless of whether or not you actually sell books in a grassroots method, meaning you're talking to people and you're selling them one-to-one, which in my opinion, you make more money faster, or you're driving everyone over to Amazon to go buy the book, it still is going to require your effort, your energy to be able to let people know about the book. Many people mistakenly believe that just because the book is published on Amazon, it's available for sale, that Amazon is going to get behind it and just automatically start promoting the book organically. But that's not entirely the case. Amazon wants to put books and other products in front of people who have already been searching for something similar and have an interest in your subject. So whether you're doing word of mouth to push people over to the platform to buy your book, or you're paying for ads to send people over to go buy the book, or whatever you're doing in terms of your marketing, no one's going to know about that book without your effort and energy behind it. So I always say to all of my students is that you don't want to be in a position where you're just putting something up there and crossing fingers and hoping that enough people will organically find your listing and go and buy your book. That is actually rarely, if ever, the case. You must be, as the creator, you must be willing to get in front of it. You must be willing to talk about the book in your own social media platforms, to your own personal network. You need to be able to do that in the beginning. And as I said earlier, actually, you will generate more income faster if you do that, in addition to doing what you can to push energy over to the Amazon listing to get the organic search going and people buying the book on the platform organically. The other thing I hear some of the other people who talk about publishing what they call low content books on Amazon talk about a lot is, again, this, what I call this content mill. You're basically cranking out hundreds of nothing documents masquerading as a book in hopes that if you spray gun enough of them on the platform, at least 2 or 3 people will buy the book a day. The other thing about that is it's what I call a volume play, meaning that you're relying on having to produce hundreds of documents in order to be able to get sales. The second thing about it is that if you are one of the few that can happen, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but what I'm saying is that, let's say you've got 300 documents on the platform and they're all selling a copy or so a day, that could translate into $1,000 a month or more in income. But this is, again, why I call it a volume play and why it's risky. You are relying on what many of us in the online marketing world call building your business on rented land. You don't own Amazon. None of us own Amazon outside of Jeff Bezos. So if you have all of your product and you've got your business model structured where I'm going to put up 300 journals and maybe a handful of coloring books and so on and so forth, and I'm relying on volume sales, or what I call a volume play on this platform, that I can rely on that as passive income to come in month after month. Well, first of all, that takes time. It's not an overnight thing. You're talking about months, if not potentially a year or more, before that actually kicks in and starts to happen. And then in best case scenario, it does happen. Worst case scenario is, for whatever reason, who knows why, your account could be disabled. And it's happened. There's a very prolific coloring book author who had her account disabled. And now, she had done all the things. She had a lot of sales coming in, and it dried up overnight. literally with no warning. So to me, to tell someone to do something like that, to just put up a bunch of content on the platform and hope for volume sales, it's too risky. First of all, it takes a while to build that up. I'm talking about months to a year to build that up. Secondly, you're still going to have to market it anyway, which means you still got to get in front of it, meaning that you got to do all the things marketing wise, perhaps being interviewed on podcasts, creating other content on other social media platforms, maybe running ads and all those things to drive traffic over to the platform. And to do all of that and to put in all of that effort and energy, and then to have the platform just basically shut you down without warning is a dangerous game. It's a very dangerous game. And the other thing, which I'm very adamant about this and very passionate about this, if you are, as the creator, publishing your book on the platform, and say you're doing all the things, you're doing all the marketing, you're doing all the social media stuff, maybe running ads and all of that kind of thing, and you're driving traffic directly to the Amazon listing for your book or books without collecting that person's contact information, meaning email address and name, that also is a dangerous game. Because imagine I do a social media post on whatever platform, pick whichever one you want to use, TikTok, Instagram, it doesn't matter. And I'm sending everyone over to Amazon to go buy my book directly. First of all, I would never recommend ever for anyone to do that, because if you do send someone over to go buy the book from, say, your marketing efforts, your energy, and they buy that book, unless that customer comes back and tells you that they bought the book, you will never know who bought the book. Amazon will not share that information with you. That is actually, even though they bought your book, that's actually Amazon's customer, not yours. Not until they've told you that they've bought it. So the number one thing, I just can't even emphasize it enough, is don't send people directly to the listing. Send them to some kind of a data capture page where you can at least get an email address and a name. Then once they're on your email list, then direct them over to Amazon to potentially go and purchase your book or books. If you're not doing that, again, you're building Amazon's business, not yours. Because even if you send someone to Amazon to go purchase your book, think of it this way. You do a social media post, whatever it is, you send someone over to Amazon to go buy your book, and let's say they don't buy your book. But I'm on Amazon anyway as the person looking at it, so I need to go pick up whatever millions of items that are on the platform. Again, that's Amazon's customer, not yours. You will never know unless that person bought your book and told you that they did it. You will never know that. So again, I can't emphasize it enough. You want to build your business in a way where you are collecting that person's name and email address first. Then you can direct them over to where your books are listed for them to potentially go and purchase. And this is something I teach in great depth inside the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program. And I'll talk again more about that a little bit later. All righty. So back to, I was talking about Nefertari and her book. So again, she has done grassroots marketing, meaning she's talking about her book to her network, people that she knows, and she's getting word of mouth, and people are buying her book. And what she's able to do is she's able to make more money from the book because she's able to go and purchase her own book from the platform at a dramatically reduced cost. And then she's in turn able to sell that book for full retail, meaning that she's pocketing the difference between what the book would list for on Amazon if they just packaged and delivered it and fulfilled it. So let's say, for an example, her book cost, let's say $3 to produce on Amazon. She can go buy her own books for that cost herself, like a box of books, and sell them in person for the full retail and pocket the difference. I have another member of my Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program that did the same thing. She purchased a box of her own books, because when you become a published author on the platform, you can buy your own books at an author discount, which means you're basically buying your books at cost plus the shipping of the books to you. So what Cantona did, and I'll put the link to her episode and also episode 2 in the podcast here as well, in the show notes here. She bought a box of her own books, I think 50 of them to be exact. She did a live event through her local church and sold 30 copies in one afternoon. So imagine being able to do that repeatedly every weekend. What that could mean as far as generating a side income, a side hustle income. Again, will it require you to do some work? Yes. Work beyond producing the book? Yes. But perhaps that's why it's called a hustle, because you are going to have to do some work. You're going to have to reach out to people. You're going to have to talk to people. You're going to have to get in front of it. But it doesn't matter if it's a coloring book or anything else. If you were selling, let's say, cupcakes, for an example, you would have to go somewhere where people congregate in order to be able to present your cupcakes, in order for people to be able to buy them. So online is great, and I'm all about online sales, but I don't recommend relying on online sales solely in this context. Yes, have your book available there, but don't rely on that solely, because again, in the beginning, it's all going to be a lot of your own efforts, a lot of your own energy to be able to get things going. So as I mentioned a moment ago, if you're thinking of this as a passive income stream, I first of all challenge you to rethink your definition of passive, because there's not very many income streams out there, no matter if it's playing stock or buying crypto or whatever, where there's not a level of management on your part. Nothing is solely passive. Everything that you do to generate income is going to require some effort on your part. And again, I would be totally remiss if I didn't say to you, for you to go and put all of that energy and all of that effort to set up something on a platform like selling your book on an Amazon, for an example, and months and months of work and effort to get the thing set up, only to either have your account shut down or you sell a bunch of books, but you never know who bought them. You got the money, but you don't know who bought them, because your best customer is a repeat customer. Your best customer is a repeat customer. So if someone has bought one of your books, but you produced, let's say, 5, 10 books, 12 books, like my student Michelle Wolf has produced, I think, about 10 or 11 books. I'll put the link to her episode also here in the show notes. You can, books cross sales. So Amazon would list one of your books and say, people who bought this book also bought this book. So that is something that does happen within the platform. But as I said a moment ago, you want to be able to do that also on your own. So if you've got your own email list, as an example, you can email people about the other books that you have in your line. So think about a line of books, not just one book. So again, as a side hustle, putting a book together is not that difficult. Again, my program, I teach you how to do it in 30 days or less. You can make money from selling the books yourself directly, in addition to selling them on Amazon directly, people going there and buying the book from there. But I also want to talk about some additional ways that you can make money from selling your books and why this could be a great starter side hustle. So one of the things that I always teach my students is you can take your book, take your coloring book that you made, and think of it almost like a catalog. And this is what I mean. I have a book, well, 2 or 3 books of mine that I have, but one of my books I have is called Never Too Late to Make It Happen. And it's one of my first coloring books that I published, and it's available on Amazon. But one of the things that I've been working with and experimenting with is how can I take my designs from this book and multi-purpose it on different items, on different products, things like pillows, socks, wall art, coffee mugs. Because again, a lot of us think that the book is the only income source, but you can actually take your book and put your images that you've put inside your book and multi-purpose it on other products, other items that you can set up and sell on Etsy, for an example. You can put it up and sell on, Redbubble or any of these other platforms that are out there right now. So that's an additional way that you can make money from the sale of your coloring book. So what I want to recommend to you is when you're putting your book together, as you're putting your designs together, be thinking about, could this look great on, fill in the blank with whatever, a pillow, like I said, a pair of socks, Could it work well on a coffee mug? Would it make a great wall art piece? Those are additional ways that you can generate money from your coloring book side hustle. So, and this is what's great about it is, let's say, for an example, you take 3 or 4 of your designs in your book that are really popular. You can take those designs, repurpose them on other products using a method called print on demand, which actually, if you sell your book on Amazon KDP, that is also print on demand. You might sometimes see the acronym POD, meaning print on demand. So let's say that you take 2 or 3 of your designs and you put them on other products. You're not having to buy those products. There's websites, and I'll put a link inside the show notes here to one that I like to use called Printify. And I can put any of my designs on that platform and be able to make a sample of what my image would look like on, say, a wall art piece or a pillow or a mug or a pair of socks or something of that nature. So what I can do is then make what they call mock-ups. You upload artwork. The platform actually places your design on that product inside the platform and gives you a visual representation of what that product would look like, what that pair of socks would look like, what that pillow would look like, what that tote bag would look like. I can then take those images and use them in my social media marketing to get interest. But let's say I've gone so far as to set up an Etsy store, as an example. Well, guess what? Once I've set my Etsy store up with, say, 3 or 4 test products, I can then put an ad in my own coloring book. So I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but even if you publish your book on the Amazon KDP platform, and let's say, okay, you do it, and then maybe 2 months later, 3 months later, you set up a mini Etsy store with, say, 3 or 4 items in it. And it's a full-fledged, it's a functioning store. People can go to that Etsy listing, look at your mugs, t-shirts, pillows, whatever, and go and purchase it. You can place your own sort of full-page advertisement inside your existed printing coloring book that drives traffic back over to Etsy to go buy those products that you listed on that listing. So when I say an ad, what I mean is you would basically add a new page to your file that you say you developed your coloring book, you set it up, let's say, on the platform called Canva. You've uploaded the file up to Amazon, and it's produced as a physical book. What you may or may not be aware of is that you can always update that book, even if it's already been published. What would happen is you would update your file in Canva with your now ad, meaning go check out my Etsy store where I have designs from the book available for purchase. So what you can do is set that page up, add it to your document inside of Canva, upload it back up to Amazon KDP. And what would happen is anyone that buys the book moving forward would get the new copy of the book with your own self-placed ad promo piece inside your book. Once the book is published, it can always be updated. Now, again, people who already bought the book will not see that, but anyone moving forward who buys the book will see that. The way that you also can drive traffic back over from your physical book over to your Etsy shop, if that's something that you choose to pursue, you can put what's called a QR code inside of a page of your book. QR code is like a digital little piece of code. It looks like if you look at the labels on the back of like a cereal box, you see this little kind of weird kind of barcode-ish looking kind of thing. It's kind of like that. People can whip out their phone, take a picture of this QR code, and it will take them right over to your Etsy store. If you have an Etsy store, maybe you might want to use Redbubble or any of the other ones that are out there. I'm just going to talk about Etsy because that's the one that actually I'm interested in setting up for myself. The point I'm making is that that's a way that you can use your book, sort of like a catalog. So you would have your coloring pages in there as usual, and you would have a page in your book dedicated to how to connect with you in other ways. And on that page inside the book, you can send them over to wherever you want to send them. You can send them to your social media platforms if you want to build that up. You can send them to your store to buy your products if that's what you want. You can also do, if you don't have a website just yet, you can do something like a linked tree. Linked tree is a way to sort of have, it's sort of like a directory, if you will. It's like sometimes people have a website that has all the navigation links to all the different parts of the site that they can go to. So let's say you haven't developed a website just yet. That's fine. You don't need to. You can use a free service like Linktree. Again, I'll put the link in the show notes here on how to do that. And you can make a page which essentially has navigation links to all the different ways people can contact you. One of the things that you can do is you can send people from your book over to your link tree where they can then check out if you're on TikTok and you're on Facebook and you're on Instagram and Pinterest, you can have links to all those platforms there. In addition to, you can have links to your Etsy shop or your Redbubble store or whatever else you've got going on. All right. Another way that you can expand your income streams and make your side hustle growing beyond the book or based off the book, I really should say, in addition to physical products, you could create something like a membership club, a coloring club to be more precise. I ran one for a year called my coloring club. I charged $15 a month to be a part of that club. And in the beginning, when I first launched it, I did $15 a month or $97 for a year. And I ran that club for a year. I've since put a pause on the club because I've been moving more into helping authors get their books published. So I haven't had the time or the bandwidth to run both. So I've decided to put my energy all into helping, more people get their books published. But what I want to say to you and why I'm suggesting it is that if you like community, you like connecting with people, you like to create something where people have like a safe place to go and connect and color and create and share. Creating like a coloring club of some sort can be potentially a great additional side hustle, if you will, or side gig onto your book itself. It's exactly what I did. So basically what you would do is you would need to build up some kind of like a community, like a Facebook group where you can really connect with people, and then invite them to come and join you in this experience. One of my other students, Pamela Sisler, is doing something very similar. She's published a series of journals, all based on deepening their faith. It's kind of a Bible study group. So it's Bible study and coloring, connecting and sharing. And she's created three books in total that her members get a chance to get access to, in addition to bi-weekly coloring, scripture, and prayer parties, or gatherings, I should say. So again, that can be, I think she's charging like $20 a month. So that can be an additional income stream for you. And there are many more. And I'm going to do a whole other episode in depth on a variety of income streams and go a little bit more in depth on each. But what I just wanted to say to you is this, and why I wanted to record this episode for you. I have a post that I have on Facebook for a mini class that I teach called Get a Sellable Coloring Book Idea. And it's like about a 2-hour workshop, and I do have it available, and it is recorded. I will also put the link to the show notes to that replay for also inside the show notes here to go watch it. And then after you watch, if you feel you're ready to actually activate this income stream for yourself, there's an invitation link below that video to be able to go and join or check out, I should say, the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program. So again, as I mentioned throughout the episode, I do have a program. It is a membership community course where I teach you how to produce the book from idea to finished product in your hand, to how to implement all these additional income streams that I suggested and talked about with you today. I'm going to tie it back to the topic of this episode, why I believe that a coloring book can be a great starter income stream or side hustle, if you will, or side gig for someone who is a creative. Again, they're easy to produce. They don't require a lot of money to get them done. You can do them well under $300 to get them started. And they can open up a wealth of different income streams, spin-offs from that book. Again, let's just kind of recap it a little bit. You can create your book, and that's one income stream. But within that, that's two income streams, because you can sell the book directly on Amazon, and which you'll take a lower percentage of the sale, or you can order a box of your own books and go out and create your own in-person markets and sell the book yourself at full retail and pocket the difference. That could put hundreds of dollars in your pocket fairly quickly if you've got a little bit of ingenuity behind you. The second income stream spinoff from the book is you can set up like an Etsy store or a Redbubble store. You can take page designs from your book, place those designs on a variety of different products. Again, t-shirts, mugs, pillows, tote bags, whatever you name it. There's a variety of different items that you can put your designs on. Again, there's a site that I like to use called Printify that lets you create print-on-demand products. So again, like your book, you're not having to pay to get the product produced until someone purchases it. And this is something that I also talk about in great depth inside the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program. A third side hustle or additional income stream you can build from that is some kind of like a coloring club, or it can be a class or a workshop. I once taught a class on how to create a custom coloring calendar. It was a class where I said, come with your own photographs, and I will give you background designs, and I will show you how to lay out your own coloring calendar using a tool like Canva. And I taught them how to put the calendar together. I gave them a template, taught them how to do it. And then Canva actually produced the coloring calendar. Again, it's a print-on-demand type service. It wasn't something necessarily that the price, the numbers didn't work for someone to be able to sell the calendar. The price point was going to be too high. But if the individual person that took the class wanted their own custom calendar, that was a good idea to do. And it was something that I taught. If you don't want to run a membership community like what I did, you could maybe do one-off classes based around your coloring book designs and or your ability to know how to put together a book. Again, so once you learn how to do this, as I say to my students all the time, it's a skill that you can't unlearn. You can't unknow it. And once you know it, it's a matter of being able to expand the variety of different ways that you can generate income. So again, book, if you want to say passive sales on Amazon directly, direct sales, meaning you buy a box of your books and sell them in person yourself. Second or third, I'll combine those as to one. The next one would be repurposing your designs on your own products, using page designs on physical products that you sell through an Etsy or Redbubble or something of that nature. The third one or the fourth one would be on creating a membership community where you charge $15, $20 a month for a group of people to come join you in a Facebook group that you password protect. And you do a weekly or bi-weekly coloring and connection party, and that can be an ongoing source of income for you. And the fifth one would be creating a course, a mini course or a mini workshop where you can build something around the development of a book or a product, not so much a book, but maybe like a calendar or something of that nature. Again, these are all things that I workshop with my members in my Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program. I want to talk about that just really briefly. I've mentioned this program several times. This program is unlike a lot of other maybe programs out there. It's not just a course at all. It's a course and not really a course. And this is what I'll explain. There are a lot of programs out there where there are a bunch of videos on a platform and you go and watch all these videos and you're on your own to figure it out. The Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program is just that. It's not just you getting a bunch of recorded videos and figuring it out on your own. We meet twice a week on the first 3 weeks of every month. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we meet for live coaching. So you can come to me with your idea. If you're developing your book, you can come to me with your idea or going through the process of developing the book. Everything soup to nuts, I'm available in there to help you to work through whatever kinks or whatever roadblocks that may come up for you to make sure your book gets done. Then the next call we have every week is on the marketing, basically how to take your book now and develop into other income streams. Our Thursday sessions are always going to be on the development of the book, and the Tuesday sessions are all about the growing of the business of being a coloring book creator. So again, we meet on the first 3 Thursdays and first 3 Tuesdays of every month. And again, as a member, you would automatically get access to join that. Plus, the replays are automatically available inside the Coloring Book Creator Mentor platform. So I have a platform that's set up where I put all the recordings there. The live coaching sessions are there. If you have to miss a coaching session, I have a way for you to be able to answer your question before I do the coaching call. And then when you go into the platform, you can just type in your name and part of your question, and you'll get queued up right inside the video where I answered your question. So this is a very hands-on program. Again, this isn't some program where you've got 2 months of access to me or whatever, and then you're on your own, or there's a bunch of videos there and you have to figure out what to do next. That's not the way this program runs. I wanted this to be high touch. I want you to be able to get your questions answered. And so again, people who are in the program right now said there's nothing out there like this. I believe it because I've been in a lot of programs myself and I don't see anything like this, and definitely not for the price point that I offer this for. Now, I'm going to say the price but just know at the time you're listening to this, this may change. So I'm just going to be really clear about that. But right now, you can get started for $97. You would get access to the whole platform, and then and it rebuilds every month for $67. So it is a membership community. It's not a course. So it's $697 to start at the time I'm recording this, and $67 a month recurring, and you can cancel anytime. There is no, you're locked into this for months and months and months, and you can't get out. It's not like that. You can join, then recur every month for $67 a month. Also, if you decide to check it out and join us, I also will send you in the mail physically what I call a Coloring Book Creator Vision Journal. And it's a physical book that you would be able to plan out all of your campaigns for marketing your coloring book business, your coloring book side hustle, if you want to call it that, for a full year. I also have some introspective prompts and guides in the front to help you get some clarity about where you are personally. Because again, the success of your business also rests on the shoulders of how you are doing yourself personally. I'm really big about vision and having a vision. A lot of us just talk about the mechanics of setting up a business, but we're humans behind the business. And we have to be able to nurture and take care of ourselves in order to have the energy to be able to do the things we need to do to run a business. So whether it's a side hustle, doing this can be a great side hustle that maybe one day you want to turn to a full-time business. If that's what you're thinking about, this also too is a great program to be involved in. And this journal will help you be able to get clarity around that and your goals. And you can bring those things that come up for you to the live coaching calls to get additional support from me and the other members of the group. Again, at the time I'm recording this, the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program is $97 to start, $67 a month. You will get a digital version of this vision journal planner. Also, a physical will be also sent in the mail to you. So again, I just want to leave you with this. I hope that you got some inspiration behind what I shared. Again, I only brought up this topic as an episode for the podcast because someone did say to me as they were actually signing up to join my free workshop, they said to me, I want a side hustle. And that inspired me because a lot of, that language is out there right now. People talk about side hustles all the time. Whether you like the word hustle or not, it is a part of our vernacular. I'm not going to say to you that this is going to be a full-time income for you in a matter of a month or two. No, this is like any other business. It takes time. It takes creativity. It takes energy. It takes support. No matter if you're selling cupcakes or you're selling coloring books. It's all about you taking care of yourself to be able to be in position mentally, emotionally, physically, to be able to do all the things that need to happen to run your business. And I will not sugarcoat that and tell you that you're going to make $1,000 a month in 1 month by throwing a bunch of books up on Amazon KDP. That's not going to happen. And I don't want to even suggest that to you. But if you're willing to look beyond the book and be willing to look beyond the desire that comes up for some people to maybe hide behind the book, is $1,000 a month potentially available to you? Absolutely. Absolutely. I know for a fact it's absolutely available to you. You just got to have the support and the tools and the resources to be able to get out there and do what you need to do to be able to get your book in front of the people that want to buy it. and then go beyond that to build a business beyond that. Your book is a great starting point, and you can take it to any avenue you want to take it. All you need is the resources and the tools and the support to get it done. So again, the links to everything I mentioned in here is inside the show notes below. I'm going to be doing more podcast episodes on the topic of income streams, different ways to sort of implement those. And if I can be of any support to you in your decision to perhaps consider joining the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program, feel free. I'll put my link also here to direct message me on both Facebook and Instagram, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. If a coloring book is in your future, I feel I'm the one to help you do it. I'd be more than happy to assist you in any way I can. And for me, it's changed my life. Producing a coloring book really changed my life. It was not something I was looking to do, but I went into it maybe with the same way you're listening to this episode. I was thinking, this might be a nice little side income stream. That's exactly what I thought about it. And it has proved to be a great side income stream. Okay, it is more than proven that. But it took some time. It didn't happen overnight. It took time. So if anyone is telling you that you can go do this and start making $300, $500, $1,000 a month in 30 days, I would check that claim out. I will not ever tell you that, because I know what it takes to build this and what length of time it takes to build this. Again, I did it on my own. If you want support around it, and if you feel I'm the one that can help you, I'm more than happy to be that mentor for you. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this episode of the podcast. Keep your eyes peeled for new episodes coming up around in depth about the topics I talked about today. And I will again just answer the question: can coloring books be a great additional side income or side hustle? Absolutely. If you got the tools and the resources to put it together the right way, absolutely. So with that said, this is Rodney Washington, your host, signing off. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the show. There are a lot of podcasts you could be listening to, and I just want to take a moment to say thank you, because I don't take your time for granted. Before you go, I'd like to ask, if you found the interview you just heard valuable, that you share the show. The more listeners means more creators like you can have the tools and resources and inspiration to create beautiful, meaningful coloring and activity books. Lastly, if you or someone you know has been thinking about creating a book, invite them to check out a special on-demand training where I'll help future authors uncover a sellable coloring book idea. Think of it like an idea jumpstarter kit for finding, validating, and developing your first or next coloring book idea, and it can be yours for just $10. You can snag your copy at coloringbookidea.com.